We're going to shift gears now into what Gil Scott-Heron calls ain't nothing but a word. Vocabulary becomes critical going forward because we're going to work our way through more than 60 words, each one of which encompasses a concept, each one of which is a big idea that you can run with. We're going to start with a dozen or so P words because that's where marketing started, the 5 Ps, the 4 Ps, the 7 Ps. And then we're going to go to the underlying concepts and words that work with each one of the 4 sections of the action theory. But once you understand that you are leaning forward and have a goal and that you're not just putting on a show where you're going to yell as loud as you can, a lot of this stuff starts to make sense. So here we go. We're going to work our way through each one of the Ps. There's a lot of work to be done to make decisions about which ones you care about and which ones you don't. And on the ones you care about, what will you invest in? So we'll start with the big one from Trout and Reese. It's the word positioning. And I'm going to post a separate video from my other Skillshare course that can talk you through actually how you build an XY diagram to do positioning. But the idea is pretty simple. What's a fair price for a soft drink? If someone wants to sell you a can of soft drink, what do you think that should cost? Okay, new question. What's the fair price for a pair of cross-country skis? And the third question, how much would you expect to pay for, I don't know, a backhoe capable of moving 3,000 to 4,000 pounds per shovelful? My guess is that the first question was pretty easy. The second one maybe, depending on where you live, and the third one you have no idea. The reason is simple. Your brain is crowded. Your brain is crowded, and basically it's like a filing cabinet. And what we do is we put things next to other things. And the things that we care about, we have lots and lots of varieties in there. So if you're into home brewing, I could ask you about 18 different kinds of hops and brews and methods, and you would know, right? Whereas somebody else might know a Budweiser, I don't know what else. And these filing cabinets where we keep ideas, where we keep products, where we keep brands, are the brain that the marketer wants access to. And what we have to understand as a marketer is that you cannot force yourself into someone's brain and get them to make a new filing cabinet for you. It's extremely unlikely that you have enough time or money to build your own category in someone's head. Every once in a while, a brand comes along and for a whole bunch of reasons that often involve luck, magically gets its own category. And I would say Google has figured out how to do that. But generally speaking, it's just not going to happen for you. Instead, your goal is to find a niche and fill it. Your goal for some of the people you are trying to market to is to say, where is there a filing cabinet where there is interest? And where is there a slot in that file where I can be and own my section? So I'll give you an example. 7-Up, if you're over 30 or 40 years old, you know these commercials, used to call themselves the Uncola. It was brilliant because Pepsi and Coke were spending hundreds of millions of dollars arguing about which was the best cola. And all 7-Up had to come along and say, you know those guys? We're the opposite of them. Brilliant. Because we already had a slot for cola. We could imagine what the opposite would be. It would be clear. It would be more refreshing. It would be different, right? So they said, you got that? This is the opposite of that. If you think about cars, the kind of person who wants to buy a convertible isn't the kind of person who doesn't want to buy a convertible. They have different needs. So if you want to sell a Miata or you want to sell a Porsche convertible, you're not selling against every other car. You're selling against the other convertibles that someone is thinking about. So one of the decisions that we have to make early on when we start inventing our product and our story and our marketing approach is, what's the marketplace look like to someone who cares? And among people who care, where is there a slot available to us? And I won't repeat what's in the other video, but I think when you do the frozen pizza exercise, you will see really clearly how positioning can work for you. Number 2 is pricing. A lot of people get hung up on pricing if they're coming from a needs-based mindset. They say, oh, well, it costs me $18 to make this, so I should charge $24 because one number is related to the other. But for all the famous brands, for every marketing success that you are familiar with, there is no relationship between what it costs to make and what you pay. That the markup on HP toner cartridges is 99.9%. That the markup for soft drinks is 90+%. Go down the list. Chanel No. 5 costs $20,000 a gallon to buy or something like that. The point is, we don't pay based on what it costs to make. We pay based on what it's worth. And who decides what it's worth? We do. And the way we know what it's worth is we are telling ourselves a story. So what price is a hint. It's a clue. It says, oh, you're looking for a surgeon? She's the most expensive surgeon. He's the cheapest surgeon. Who do you want? Well, if that's all I know, and I have health insurance, I want the expensive surgeon. Thank you very much. Why? Well, because they must be better, right? Or if I'm going to buy a gift for someone I care about and I see that there are 6 different prices available, I want, the second highest price because I like them, but not that much. And I certainly don't want to send them a signal that I bought them the cheap one. And we see this with Leica cameras. A Leica camera appeals to a group of people who are using the name of it as a reminder and the price as a signal. And the signal says, this is the camera for people who want to buy the best one. It goes right back to positioning. The price has to be in sync with that. That when we buy something at work, B2B, and we're going to talk about B2B a bunch coming up, or for ourselves or as a gift, we're looking to price as a very easily quantified signal. If you are in an industry that's stuck, they're going to sort by price. So if you go to hotels.com and I can't tell the hotels apart, I hit sort by price. I'll take the cheapest one if they're all the same, right? You lose when you race to the bottom, not where you want to be. That the opportunity for the marketer is to add value. Next one, next P, placement. Now there are lots of placements that you can acquire with money and effort. There's retail shelf space. It costs money to get your item on the store shelf. There's web shelf space. Quite simply, it costs money to get people to notice you on the web. That there is a long tail of infinite choice, but if you want yourself to show up in all those ads online and be mentioned by all those people, it costs. There is life space, not just shelf space. But when I look around me, what am I noticing? It's hard to believe, but 30 years ago, almost no one drank bottled water. If you think about it, bottled water is sort of ridiculous in a country where the water is already so clean. So how is it that bottled water showed up? Well, they certainly invested in retail shelf space, but they also did things like giving celebrities unlimited amounts of bottled water and paying hotels to put bottled water in the room. When you are surrounded by respected people who are using this product, you notice it because it's placed, it's around you. And then the last one, which is an interesting one to think about, but I think the hardest to acquire, is ad shelf space. It used to be the ad shelf space of placing your ads on television. But if you want to hear a particularly perverse, magical example of this, back in the old days, Netscape was the browser that everyone used to surf the internet. And they needed a search capability built into Netscape because they didn't want people to necessarily have to leave. Well, at the time, Yahoo had just been kicked off the servers at Stanford, where David and Jerry went to school, and they were going to have to shut it down. And my friend Lisa and a few other people got together and introduced them to the people at Netscape. And Netscape said, oh, we got extra servers. You can put Yahoo over here. So when it came time for Netscape to pick a browser, to pick a search engine, well, Yahoo was on the same machine. It wasn't going to go down. They picked them. And that one decision led to $40 billion worth of value creation because they were placed in the right spot. So if you're doing marketing today, I wouldn't be running around trying to find how I buy ads on the nightly news. I try to figure out how I can spend money to be right next to the people I want to be next to, because that proximity that you get from placement changes the way people see you.